welcome back to my channel. So today I have another Sims 4 speed build for you, and today this is actually going to be a large base game family home. So again, since we're welcoming a lot of new players to the game, I thought creating another base game home would be pretty helpful, or just for those players who don't have all of the packs, because let's be honest, it's a little expensive to have all the packs. So I wanted to create another base game home and one that you could use for like a large family. So recently I did a base game starter, but I figured, you know, after a while, you're probably going to have a family, and then where are you going to put them? So this is the solution. So I decided that I actually wanted to create a fairly large home, and this one actually ends up being a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom house and comes out to be about 150,000 simoleons, which is a little pricey and honestly a little more in my price range. I had such a hard time with the starter home, but this one I just got to do whatever I wanted to, and this one was a whole lot of fun. I actually did this over on stream on Twitch, and that link is down below if you want to check it out and hang out. It's a lot of fun. We build together and talk about what's going on with the Sims, or just, you know, what's going on with life, and I've really been enjoying it lately. But I wanted, like I said, I wanted this to be a kind of like more traditional home, at least traditional homes and what I'm used to. And I wanted to have like beautiful large windows, a wonderful backyard, just, you know, a lot of stuff to do for a family. And so that's exactly what we end up making here. And the backyard ends up having like a pool and like a grilling space and monkey bars. And it's just, I mean, I really liked this build. It was a little tough to begin with, like picking some of the colors. You can see I go back and forth because there is something about this lot. The lighting is so weird on the front of the house that like it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So I feel like then when I go to the back of the house where the lighting was better, I'd be like, oh, those don't actually match. And so I had to swap stuff. So I kind of based it on how it looked on the back of the house. And then I just went with a simple paneling for the sides of the home. And it just, I don't know, I feel like it just looks really warm and inviting and just adorable, at least in my opinion. And then I do put some landscaping outside. Like I don't put a ton just because, I don't know, I just didn't really feel like it. But we do put some trees and bushes and things like that outside. And I can't remember actually if I did the inside or the outside of the build first. When it came to actually decorating, I want to say I actually did the outside last. I like did the facade, but then I did the backyard last. And so this space here, of course, putting in the stairs took a minute trying to figure out exactly what I wanted. Like I like doing 2-story houses. I feel like it gives you a lot of room. However, at the same time, trying to put stairs in, I don't know. It's something that I've always struggled with, like trying to figure out where to place it so it makes sense, especially in the second floor. And this ended up being so large. The first floor was so big, I decided to actually put the parents' bedroom downstairs. And the way I envisioned this home was a set of parents and then actually ending up having 2 kids, 1 teen, and 1 toddler. So there's like a lot of room in this house. Now, of course, if you want to download this off the gallery, it is already there if you would like to download it and play with it. And of course, as usual, change it however you need to for your gameplay. So if your family obviously changes or doesn't have that composition, oh my goodness, words today, then of course you can change it and do whatever you want to. Or if this doesn't quite fit your Sims aesthetic, feel free to change stuff out. Or if you have more packs and want to change things out, of course, feel free to do so. But I actually ended up putting these beautiful navy floor tiles in here. I don't know if I've ever used them before, but I'm not gonna lie, my mom inspired me a little bit for this one because actually, like in my childhood home, like I only had 2 growing up. I say only, like that's a lot. Like that still, anyways. My first childhood home, we had the counters were a dark navy tiled counters, and my mom loves those. Like those are like her favorite. She doesn't have them anymore in their current house, but that was something like that was her favorite. And I feel like if she could redo her kitchen, she'd put those back. So I actually decided to use those, and blue ended up being our accent color for this house. And I think it worked out really well. I did struggle a little bit with what bar stools to use. Like I ended up pausing it while I was having a bit of a crisis as to what bar stools I wanted to use. But I think this came together actually really well, and I think it has a ton of room for a large Sims family. And of course, You can alter this however you want to. You can add more Sims or change one of the bedrooms like to fit what you need for this house. And I honestly wasn't super sure what these Sims actually did for a living. I thought a little bit more about just the like how many Sims and the kind of family that's here, not necessarily their professions, but there's a lot of stuff to do in this house, so there's a lot of choices. And here I just wanted to add some cute little plants there on that windowsill. But I will say that depending on where you put it, like the lighting was a little bit off. So that is what we came up with. And just adding those really pretty pendant lights in here. And I used those throughout the build. And then adding a little like finishing touches here and there. And then actually, I can't remember what I did next. Okay, so the half bath. So yeah, downstairs there's only a half bath. It is not like a full bath. But I feel like more often than not, it's that all your Sims have to like, you know, use the bathroom at the same time. And I try to make sure there are enough bathrooms in this house because if you've played The Sims for a while or you're just getting used to it, I just feel like it's just so important. Like all of your Sims will want to go to the bathroom at the same time, or like if you don't have enough in different places of the house, like it takes them forever to walk to the bathroom and then walk back to whatever it was that they were doing. So that can kind of be like a whole thing. And so, you know, you don't want that. So I tried to put like a couple on the first floor and a couple on the second so that, you know, there you shouldn't have any issues with that. And then you can see here I'm struggling a little bit with how I wanted to do this house. And of course I had all these like little like nook areas in the front of the house just for like architecture, and then trying to figure out exactly how I'm going to use those was a lot of fun. But I end up over in the corner putting in the living room, and I end up scooting over the back door. It really was causing me some issues in terms of trying to fit in the dining space and the living room, especially for a family that I wanted it to be like fairly large. And I do end up swapping out one of the dining chairs for a high chair for the toddler. Of course, if you don't want to use the high chair, because I know it definitely has its issues, you can delete it and replace it. Or if you don't have a toddler in your house, you can of course replace it as well. And then trying to figure out kind of what the style of this home is going to be. And I actually really liked those kind of ornate couches. Like I just thought that was so pretty and went really well with that light blue aesthetic I was going for in the rest of this home. And then you can see I'm trying to make it work, trying to squeeze everything in, and it was a little bit of a struggle just because there were so many Sims here. So you can see I'm just trying to move over the door a little bit and trying to make the floor plan make sense because like I said, I wanted to make sure there was enough seating for people around, you know, so you're not like having Sims like left out. So I think it's actually a pretty sizable living room, squeezing everything in there, and your Sims can get to all parts of the living room, all the couches, they can light the fireplace, all of that kind of good stuff. When I take my screenshots, I try to, you know, like make it to where it does work, because sometimes you place this stuff and it doesn't quite work, but doing screenshots usually helps me find places that aren't going to work out very well. Like if I overestimate the Sims ability to get to something, or it's just having a hard time. So I like to tweak that stuff before I upload to the gallery, so hopefully you don't have that kind of issue. And then actually I end up putting the dining room kind of right there, and then over in that other like nook area, I actually end up putting in an office, which I think was kind of nice, just like off to the side. And then I do mess around a little bit with like where exactly I want to put it, what kind of bookcases I want, because I wanted some kind of bookcase over there. But a lot of the bookcases we have in this game are very large. Like either they're very tall or very thick, and it just like took up a lot of room. But I do end up swapping around the desk. Yeah, so it's facing the window. And then I actually end up putting like a cabinet in, and then one of the really small bookcases like above it. And I'm thinking maybe that cabinet's kind of like a filing cabinet, a storage cabinet for like office stuff. Like maybe one of the parents is a stay-at-home parent, maybe they're a writer or something like that, and like that's their office space. And so I end up putting in a cabinet underneath there. And I felt like it kind of looked like it went together, you know, like it was one piece a little bit. And then just adding a little bit of clutter there as well, since I feel like with a family this large, there's gonna be a little bit of clutter. Like, I mean, there's so many kids in this house. But I did want to make it for people so that, you know, you can have those large families here. And then actually the parents' bedroom is quite large as well and has an ensuite. So again, there's 2 bathrooms down here, which I think is, you know, really helpful. And then again, I use that blue aesthetic in their room as well. And then just adding again a little more clutter as I'm finding it and placing it down. And I end up, like I said, I had those like binders over there because I figured, you know, with kids, like you're just gonna have that stuff like everywhere. And so I end up putting actually a pretty spacious bathroom in as an ensuite, and I'm just using again the same tile. I figured, you know, if they put it in their kitchen, they would want it in their bathroom. And so I'm kind of using that bed that matches the furniture out in the living room. Again, I feel like it makes sense, right? Like if they go and buy a bunch of furniture, they'd buy what they liked, and maybe it was just like a, you know, a large set. And then just actually putting in a small little seating area so the parents have a little getaway from all of their children, because there are so many of them. So they have a place that they can go and have maybe some peace and quiet, maybe. And then just adding in a little bit of clutter over here on the dresser. And trying not to put too much clutter, but I kind of wanted it to be a little bit realistic in the way it looked. And then again, since this was base game, I didn't have like all the same clutter that I usually do. So some of it is repetitive, but I did use those beautiful pictures, like portraits that came with base game, and swapping those up, whether that is them or ancestors, or I don't know, maybe they paint for a living and those are just things that they've painted. I mean, either way, I just felt like that was very nice to have in their bedroom. And then we end up putting in here just like a almost double vanity, not quite, just because of this space limitation. And I didn't want to put the counters right next to the window because I just felt like that was a little bit cramped, and just, I don't know. I don't like to do that in kitchens either, so I didn't do it here in the bathroom. But again, putting some realistic clutter in here, toothbrushes, you know, soap, the usual, you know, nothing like terribly crazy, and then putting a little artwork there on the wall. And then I try to keep that space kind of open. I didn't want it to be too cluttered. And then here I am just trying to figure out how I want to do this floor plan, how many bathrooms I wanted to do, but I do end up actually putting in a playroom as well, because I figured with that many kids, so with 4 kids, like it probably would be nice to have a space for them to have all of their extra like toys and stuff, and place for them to hang out. Now, of course, the teen that I put in the house maybe doesn't use that space as much, just because like a lot of the stuff that's in there is for like kids and toddlers, but you never know. Maybe they used to use it. And I actually end up, for my screenshots, the teenager was a boy, and then the toddler and both kids were all girls. But of course, like I said, you can do whatever you want to, change whatever you want to. That's totally up to you, and make the house your own. And then having a bathroom up here as well, and I try to make sure that we had plenty of space for like bathtubs, because either if you have maybe cats and dogs and you want to have a dog in this house, you need to be able to bathe them, as well as being able to bathe the toddler. I believe you can also bathe the toddler in a sink, but in case you have issues with that, or you just want it to be, you know, in a bathtub, you do have access to that. But of course, you can swap it out. And I tried to make this bathroom a little more like cute and adorable because it is the kids' bathroom. So using just a lot of the cute stuff, like the cute little rug with the pretty like outdoorsy looking like cloud curtain there. And I use this flip-flop like light strand that I don't know if I've ever used before, but I just thought it looked so cute. Like I feel like maybe the kids saw it when they were out one day and they were like, oh, I really want it in the bathroom. So, you know, the parents hanging it up in the bathroom. And I feel like the way this house works, like the parents just don't go upstairs. Like they just kind of let the kids like be upstairs. But I guess for the toddler, they would need to go upstairs and tuck the toddler in and that kind of thing. But it's almost just like the whole top floor is for the kids. And then this actually ends up being the playroom, and you can see me like struggling. I don't know what it was about this room and the lighting, but a lot of the wallpapers were so reflective that it was like hard to see. So I had to find one that kind of matched like kind of the aesthetic I was going for, while also not being super reflective. And I got to use those super, super cute star curtains, and I love the way they turned out. And you can see here, I'm just dumping all of the kids' stuff into this room that I want to place in here. So I do organize it. It doesn't stay that way, but I wanted to be sure that there was just a ton for your Sims to do, and a way for them to get a lot of their skills up before they age up. And so there's stuff to do in here for both the kids and the toddler. And I'm not sure if the teen can actually use any of these items off the top of my head, maybe the dollhouse, but I think most of the items are just for the kids and the toddler. But I figured, the teen is off doing other things, and I believe I put like a guitar in their room and everything, so they have like their own hobbies that they can, do on their own. And then this smaller room actually ends up being the toddler room, and I feel like it is kind of a small room, but it could definitely be transferred into a kid's room if need be, and then, or even maybe adding another toddler bed in here if you have more than one toddler. But I do actually end up making a makeshift like changing table in here. So I end up combining a dresser and an ottoman here. And so I kind of raise it up so it looks like there's like a padded area on top of the dresser. And then I end up just putting a little bit of clutter, like stuff I felt like you might have by a changing table, just like different bottles of stuff and tissues and maybe a stuffed animal, things like that. And fingers crossed that, when we get the update for, I guess what they're calling infants, I really hope we get some of those kinds of items and then we can actually use it so I don't have to make the makeshift ones anymore. And I just tend not to make them because like we can't use them, but in this space I thought it was just so adorable and so cute to have that, and just putting a bunch of little toys around the place because I figured all that stuff was just for the toddler. And then your sim can still get in there and tuck them in and read to them and all of that kind of good stuff. But it's just kind of a space for them. And of course, as they get older, you could transfer that maybe into an office and make the like playroom maybe a room for the toddler when they grow up, like that kind of thing. And I ended up using this beautiful purple wallpaper because it just was speaking to me at the time when I was building this. I was like, this is beautiful and I want to use it. So I used a bunch of bright purple, pinks, and blues, which I think it turned out so good. I cluttered this room a lot because I just feel like having two kids in there would just be stuff everywhere, just all over the place. So we put a little bookcase in there. I figured, that they would have a lot of storage in there. And then I do end up putting a desk, a dresser, and a mirror in here. Like I said, a ton of stuff for them to do. And that mirror, I tried to use it and I couldn't believe how tall it was. And I had no idea that like it would place itself that high up. But I did use that really cute like cloud heart eye like mirror, which I think just was so cute and really nice touch in this room and just made a whole lot of sense. And I do only have one desk in here, but there are so many spaces around the house where your Sims can like write in their journal, do their homework, like that kind of thing. So I figured that would be okay. And I found that beautiful balloon garland. I thought that was so, so cute. Of course, like, I don't know how useful balloons are. I mean, I feel like they would deflate, but maybe they're fake balloons. I don't know. Maybe they're just a really fun decoration, or maybe one of them they had a birthday. Maybe they're twins and they had a birthday. I don't know. So they decided to keep those decorations up. And then just like I said, adding clutter everywhere because I love cluttering up kids' rooms. Like that's just so much fun and thinking about their personalities and what they like. And I ended up putting those lights in there to help so that they don't have nightmares. So kids in this game will have nightmares. I believe it also applies to base game, but those lights will help so that they don't get scared at night and wake up the whole household and then they won't go back to sleep. Like it's a whole thing. Like it's a nightmare for everyone when they have a nightmare. So this ends up being the teens room, and so I went with this really cool wallpaper. I wanted to use this, and honestly the blue swatch is about the only one that I like. I feel like the other ones are just so intense and so bright that they're like difficult for me to use. And then I end up just putting a little couch under there because I figured with all of these kids running around, this teen probably wants their own space to hang out and hide from all of their younger siblings. So I do put like a TV in here. And I had wanted to put a like game console, but I could not find it in base game, so I assume it came with another pack. Off the top of my head, I do not remember which pack it comes with, but if you have that pack, of course, you can place that in here. And then I just figured maybe they're kind of into sci-fi and collecting, and I think I give them a frog. I think I do put a frog on their desk because I feel like maybe that's a pet that they have. So of course we have Baby Yoda, and I don't even know if I've ever used Baby Yoda, or maybe once before. And then I end up actually putting a bunch of shelves on their wall and a bunch of collectibles. Like I feel like maybe they just like collecting. I don't know what those items are called in the game. I don't remember like the little bobblehead doll looking things. I honestly don't know what those are called, but I have a bunch of those up because I figured, like I said, they like to collect that. And since they have that large boombox, I believe I put a guitar in here as well because I feel like maybe that they're just like into music, that kind of thing. And of course for this, I could not find a ninth one. So I ended up just putting one of those other things over there so that it would make sense and like filled in. It just kind of bugged me having an open space. And of course you can take those out and replace those with whatever you want to. And I also have coming to the channel soon is another base game build. It's a base game reno of a house in Oasis Springs. So that will be another family home that will be on the gallery and up on my channel soon. So you'll have another house to choose from if you'd like to download one of my houses. But anyways, that was just totally random, but I was thinking about also in that house we have a beautiful kids room, and I had so much fun decorating it with chat that I really enjoyed it. And so here I'm just adding in a few trees, just kind of doing a little bit of some simple landscaping to fill in this space. And I feel like this house actually fills in this lot really nicely. I think this is a 30 by 20 lot. I cannot remember off the top of my head, but this is the Tranquil Crescent in Willow Creek if you would like to place it there or not place it there, because the lighting is really weird on this lot. So I totally understand if you put it somewhere else. And of course you can put it anywhere you want to, just so long as it fits on the lot. But I like to put it there in the description in case, you know, you want to place it on the lot that I built it on for whatever reason, if you liked it there. But of course you can put it anywhere you want to. And then for this backyard, I actually really like the way this backyard came out, and I ended up adding just a bunch of like some terrain paint around the fence because I just feel like it looks really natural that way, like they would have a dirt accumulation. And I tried to put a gate, and I didn't feel like any of them matched the fence, of course, shocker, that we were missing a gate, or if one of those match or is supposed to match, I don't know, I didn't feel like it matched. But anyways, just putting in some bushes and flowers over here. And then I'm pretty sure I remember to put a trash can on this lot. Oh, I think I do. I think I put it on the side of the house. I was about to say, oh my gosh, please don't tell me I forgot. I feel like that's definitely something that I tend to forget. I did forget a fridge one time, but I did realize it when I was actually taking screenshots. So it was uploaded to the gallery, did actually have a fridge, but I almost forgot a fridge one time. So that's kind of fun. But anyways, just putting in a nice pool here, and I put in some lawn chairs as well, and some monkey bars, some planter boxes, so your Sims just have plenty to do. I even put a telescope out here, which I didn't even realize was part of base game, but I thought that was really awesome. So I put one of those out here, so that's something that your Sims could enjoy. And then a nice table to sit at along with a grill. And I actually, come to think, I didn't put a high chair out here. But of course you can place one out here if you would like to, and if you would like to use one. But again, just filling in some more foliage over here. I just feel like it helps really finish the yard when you have some of that extra foliage there that matches everything else, I guess, if that makes sense. And I really love the way this came out. Like, I know I've said that several times, but I feel like this would just be a really fun house to actually live in. And you see I'm trying to put together a not weird looking space for the table and the grill, and so we'll be placing that in here soon. And honestly, I really love taking the screenshots for this house. This is such an adorable family, and I think it came out just really nicely. And then adding in just like a bird bath, just a few finishing touches to the surrounding area here. And then I was back and forth about placing a little table there, but I actually ended up taking it out and just putting in a fountain because I just felt like it needed something. Like, you know, like it just felt like something was missing, and I decided that something was a fountain. So a really fancy backyard, like it ends up looking just so beautiful, and I really hope you enjoy using this house if you decide to use it. And then I do put some extra lighting out here. Those are the ones that actually came, I think, with base game. I think they actually belong in Willow Creek. They look like they actually matched that area. And so, and as I'm putting in the fountain, I try to do some weird fancy landscaping thing, but I end up just putting in the fountain. I think I put some flowers around it, but we'll see here in a second if I actually end up doing that. And then just adding in some extra flowers around those lampposts. And I feel like you have a lot of time on your hands if you can actually go and decorate your lampposts out in your yard. But I guess I also just am not great with like greenery outside. Everything dies. I can't take care of it. But as we actually near the end of this video, I hope you enjoyed it, and please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you enjoyed it and want to see more like it. And of course, in the comments, let me know if there's things that you want to see on the channel, things for me to build. And like I said, down in the description is a link to my Twitch channel if you want to follow me over there and know when I go live and come hang out and build with me while I'm making all of these things that actually end up on my channel. So without further ado, I hope you have a really sweet day. Bye, everybody.